I try to be careful with that because, on the one hand, I did go to medical school. I have 2 years of medicine, and my degree is in human sciences. I have a master's in science and ethics, but yeah, I'm a composer. So I try to, you know, if anything, an aggregator of information rather than touting myself as some kind of an expert. Just kind of aggregate what I can understand to be, the most accurate information from various parts of, topic, and then communicate questions from doctor friends and concerned citizens to my brother, and getting responses, that are accurate. On social media, obviously, people express their anxieties in a variety of ways, and often, um, will post things that are run the gamut from just kind of bad information to dangerously misinformed. And that's where I feel often compelled to set it straight and to try to do it respectfully. Um, and, present the information to the best of my knowledge, clear up some of these myths and rumors. And I've been collecting some of these posts that I've been doing, and my intention, I received the request, is to edit it together as a kind of FAQ, questions and answers, and then repost it on social media. And that's something I hope to do next week. I've just got to get a chunk of work out the way. But yeah, it's an odd role to be in. But at the same time, as a composer, I work in a field that is extremely abstract, and that leads to, on the one hand, a sense of, is it even important what I'm doing? Is it meaningful? And it leads to frustrations because I'd rather be out there being useful, helping. If I could be sure that that I've had the virus, and I have some immunity to it, I would go out and volunteer. And obviously I can't do that, and I have some frustration associated with that. But at the same time, music plays maybe a more vital role than any of us expected. In a time of crisis, people look to music as a motivator, or as a calming thing, as a balm for their anxieties. And myself and a lot of people have started uh, posting music. I posted 3 tracks, I think last week, from an album I plan to do sometime in the future. I never had time, called Music to Die For, which is extremely morbid. But I've always been fascinated by the requiem form, and by this, trying to find a way to articulate musically that place between the solemn and kind of glimpses of transcendence. And in a normal situation, I probably wouldn't have posted that music, because people's reactions would have been like, "You need help writing this kind of stuff." But of course, in this situation, when people are naturally thinking in quite solemn and dark terms, it was received as a very positive thing. And so, and I've noticed, musician colleagues, posting little clips of themselves, together with a company I do a lot of work with in New York. We're creating a music video, where we each play an instrument in our own studios, and they're going to cut it all together. And it's the Beach Boys song "In My Room," so highly appropriate. So in a sense, I guess, just like in a time of war, when you're going to ship out the singers and the musicians to keep morale up, there's that role that we're playing, and it's a good one. Laurel Canyon has its own deep musical history, because this is where Joni Mitchell lived. This is where Jim Morrison lived. This is where Carole King lived and wrote the song "You've Got a Friend." And so when quarantine started here, We're all very connected together through a newsletter and a Facebook group. So everybody simultaneously in the canyon, in Laurel Canyon, went on their balconies to their windows. It was a little cacophonous, but we all sang "You've Got a Friend," and um, and it was a beautiful experience of, like, we can see our neighbors, we can wave to them, we know them all, and yet we can't touch them, hug them, but we could all sing together. And the fact that, this was a song that is obviously iconic, but that was written right here in this community was a really nice thing. And there's a lot of musicians that live here, so you hear people woodshedding at the moment. There's my neighbor's playing guitar. I can hear he's practicing more than he ever did. I'm playing piano much more than I ever have, and so it's replete with music. And you're right, it's a unifier, and that is an important role at the moment. Helping us express these emotions that maybe can't be put into words. That really is where music excels. What we do is not only abstract but non-essential, and so musicians have lost pretty much all their work right now. It's a fact of life with music, is that the band really kind of needs to be together in order to perform. Concerts have all been cancelled, um, and all recordings have been cancelled. Jobs have been cancelled left, right, and center. And so we're part of this gig economy, and that has collapsed. And at the same time, we're in this difficult situation of being freelancers or owning our own small businesses, and therefore not being eligible for unemployment, and not having paid into that, um, and waiting on the promise of these small business loans that, I only know one person who's successfully obtained anything at present. Um, and Yeah, just real concerns about how long this is going to last, and how we're going to pay our way. And as you probably know, one of the lifebloods for writers, songwriters, and composers is our royalties. Because that's something that just kind of ticks over in the background. The day the royalties were supposed to arrive from one of the performance royalty organizations, they didn't arrive, and everyone was counting on this to pay their rents and mortgages. And we received a letter from them that day saying, unfortunately, we've had to delay it a month. So we weren't notified ahead of time, and it was fury. And that was then followed up by a letter to say that they anticipate a sizable drop in the amounts that we're going to be getting. Music is one of the fundamental human activities, needs, and we will always need it. Um, Life has almost no meaning without music. TV, films, you strip them of their music, and they're these lifeless, impersonal things. So there is a role, and that's going to stay. That's not going away. And this is an opportunity for all of us to get better at what we do. Music is fundamentally an emotional language, and so really digging into that, and getting better at um take this as creative time, practice time. We have this rare opportunity to be kind of stranded in our homes and studios. Um, and at the same time, I think we have to start thinking creatively about how we can continue to earn money from this. And so, shifting from, for example, a concert model, or a business model where we come together into studios to record, to recording remotely and getting good at it, and learning how to synchronize, the various components from different musicians, and figuring out what the vehicles are out there that can remunerate us for the music that we're putting out. Now, obviously, there are streaming services, the Spotify's and the Pandoras and stuff like that. Unfortunately, they don't pay very well, so it doesn't make for a living. Um, you can get a million plays on Spotify of your song, and you'll be lucky if you break $1,000 with that. So we can't completely count on that, but maybe there are new platforms um, that will pay better, or we can do it ourselves. That you can charge for downloads on your SoundCloud, and then draw people towards you, hope that your music goes viral, and that you can monetize that in some way. And then, as musicians rather than composer, they're very intently um, working the remote angle. It's like, instead of us all coming together, hire me. And I get a lot of calls and emails from musicians. Hire me. I'm set up at home to record, and I will send you the recorded stem, the recorded track, so that we can all keep working. Right now I'm working on a movie. The director is in New York. My co-writer and orchestrator is in New York, and so far it's fine. We're productive. We're able to stay kind of creatively in sync and emotionally in sync with what we need to do. So it can function, very well, as long as that work is there, as long as people are still making movies, and that's going to diminish. But I think we have to stay creative. And I think the last thing that I would say is that as freelancers, we've had to become very adept at adapting and figuring out new ways to find a job here. And so I think we are naturally in a strong position to read a situation and say, okay, I can see where this is going, and I can see where I need to go. And I don't think all those answers are self-evident, but I think they will be, and people will experiment with new kind of models of how to get their music out there and get paid for it. But I think we are uniquely well adapted to crisis, because in a sense we as artists always live in crisis. You never know when your next paycheck is coming or the next project, and that's just a fact of life for us. So we also have that advantage of being able to channel emotion in creative and meaningful ways, and I think that is another useful skill, because we have an outlet for all of these powerful emotions that we're feeling. I can go and bang on the drums, or I can go and hit the piano. I can, as I was telling you before, I can write the saddest music I can possibly write, and then by virtue of that, just feel I've let it out. So we have that advantage, and we have that adaptability. I would just say what a lot of other people are saying, which is base your decisions, base your knowledge on the science. Take it seriously, that we're in this for the long haul, even though we are told in kind of 2 week chunks that we're going to extend, and we're going to extend. That's basically so that people don't go completely mad. But the reality is we are in this until the summer, and then there might be some alleviation, there might not. And, as one friend puts it, this is neither a sprint nor a marathon. It's a marathon where we're sprinting the whole time. So we have to preserve our energy, figure out what self-care means to you, um, because this is a long haul, and I think it's easy to burn out in various different ways. Burn out at work, burn out from too many Zoom cocktail hours, burn out from just emotion, and realize that we have, as humans, incredible inner strength, and that we will all get through this. We will all be changed profoundly, as well as our world being changed. We will be changed profoundly. Um, and Take care of yourselves.